Welcome, everyone. Before we dive in, be sure to drop your thoughts, feelings, and lessons in the comments below. Like the video and subscribe so you never miss stories like this. Let's get into it. Sonia made me apologize to the man she was cheating with, on speakerphone, in our kitchen, like I was the one who did something wrong. She stood there with her arms folded, calm as a pasta, while he laughed and told me, "It's all good, bro. Just don't do that again." I said sorry anyway, because I'd trained myself to swallow pride like medicine. The next day, my card got declined at the grocery store. I opened our shared account and saw my life leaking out in transfers with his name on them. Here's how it happened. My name is Jack. I'm a black man in my mid-30s, born in Chicago, raised by a mother who kept the lights on with prayer and overtime. I live in Naperville now, in a townhouse that looks like it came from a brochure about quiet success. The kind of place where neighbors wave and then mind their business. I used to think moving out here meant I was finally safe. Like distance from the city could also be distance from mistakes. Turns out peace isn't a zip code. Peace is who you let have access to your heart and your bank account. I wasn't always the man I wanted to be. Years ago, I cheated. I don't dress it up. I didn't almost cheat. I did it. The damage landed on Sonia like a dropped glass, sharp, loud, and impossible to put back. I told her the truth because my mother raised me to confess even when it costs. Sonia stayed, but trust didn't. I spent years trying to rebuild it. Therapy, boundaries, transparency. I became the yes-m husband, walking on eggshells and calling it growth. I met Sonia at a friend's cookout in Hyde Park. She had a laugh that made people lean in, like it had gravity. She also had this way of roasting you without being mean. She looked at my plate, 2 hot dogs, no bun, and said, "So you're doing the Jim Lai diet?" I said, "It's protein." She said, "It's fair." I laughed so hard I almost spilled my drink. That night we talked in the driveway until mosquitoes started charging rent. It felt easy, romantic in a real way. Our early relationship had that kind of soft magic that makes you believe in meant to be. Sonia loved late-night drives down Lakeshore Drive, the skyline looking like a promise. I love how she'd sing off-key to old R&B, dead serious like she was headlining a tour. We'd split a Harold chicken box and argue about who stole more fries. She'd win every argument without raising her voice. I'd pretend I let her. When I proposed at Promontory Point, she cried and called me a fool. Then she said yes. The first year of marriage, we were broke but happy. We live in a small place in Bronzeville with thin walls and loud neighbors who treated 2 a.m. like a suggestion. Sonia would fall asleep on my chest while I watched highlights on mute. I'd wake up early and make her coffee the way she liked it. Too sweet, like it was trying to apologize for something. We didn't have much, but we had inside jokes and Sunday morning pancakes. Love felt like a shared language. I didn't know how quickly a language can turn into a weapon. When I cheated, it wasn't because Sonia was lacking. It was because I was. I was insecure, chasing attention, thinking I deserved softness without earning it. I hated myself afterward, but self-hate doesn't fix anything. Sonia found out, and I watched her face change like someone turned off the lights. She didn't throw anything. That would have been easier. She just got quiet. Later she said, "I don't know who you are." That sentence haunted me more than any yelling could have. I confessed, apologized, and accepted whatever came next. Sonia stayed, but she rewrote the rules. My phone, open. My location, on. My plans, verified. I understood why, so I complied. I told myself this was the price of redemption. I went to counseling, cut off the friend who encouraged my nonsense, and stopped drinking like I was trying to drown a conscience. I worked overtime and came home straight. I tried to be better, but I also became scared. Scared to make her angry, scared to ask for anything, scared to be a man with needs. After a while, the punishment started blending into normal life. Sonia would say things like, "You don't get to be offended, Jack. Remember what you did." And I would nod like that was wisdom. If I questioned her tone, she'd remind me of my past like it was a remote control. I began to feel like a guest in my own marriage, paying rent in guilt. Still, I did love her, and sometimes she'd soften, hold my hand in the car, kiss my forehead, laugh at my jokes. Those moments kept me trying. One night in downtown Chicago, we went to this little jazz spot near River North. Sonia wore a green dress that made me forget how to breathe. I told her she looked like trouble. She said, "I am trouble. You just finally matured enough to afford me." I laughed and pulled her close while the band played something slow. We danced, forehead to forehead, like we were back in year one. For a few hours, I believed we were healing. I didn't know Sonia could be romantic and ruthless in the same lifetime. When we moved to Naperville, Sonia said it was for a fresh start. New environment, new energy. I wanted that too. We opened a shared account, the responsible kind of adult move you brag about to your aunties. We built a little routine. I'd handle most bills. Sonia handled groceries and small stuff. She got a job in Oak Brook, a corporate office with shiny floors and people who said circle back, like it was a religion. She came home talking about coworkers, happy hour, team culture. I encouraged it. I thought I was being supportive. Then there was the coworker. His name was Marcus. At first, he was just this funny guy from work. Sonia would imitate his voice, make jokes about his cologne being aggressive, laugh while scrolling her phone. I didn't think much of it. I wanted to be the secure husband. I'd already messed up once. I didn't want to act like a detective. Plus, Sonia used to tease me for being old-school jealous. She'd say, "Jack, you're too grown to be checking for imaginary competition." I wanted her to be right. I wanted to trust. The text started late. Midnight, 12:30. Sometimes 1 a.m. Sonia would claim it was work emergencies, but nobody's job is that urgent unless you're defusing bombs or delivering babies. One night I caught a glance at the screen. "I miss your energy." My stomach dropped. I asked calmly, "Why is he texting you like that?" Sonia's face didn't change. She didn't flinch. She just said, "Don't start." I said, "I'm not starting. I'm asking." She smiled like I was a child and said, "You're projecting." She flipped it on me so fast I almost believed her. Sonia said I was paranoid because of my past, that I was looking for betrayal because I knew what betrayal looks like. She told me my question was controlling. She told me I was trying to police her friendships. I tried to explain the difference between friendship and flirting, but Sonia made it sound like I was accusing her of a crime without evidence. And then she played the guilt card. "After what you did, you don't get to interrogate me." That line shut me down every time. Until the night she demanded I apologize. Sonia waited until Saturday morning, like she wanted the humiliation to have daylight. We were in the kitchen. She had her robe on, hair wrapped, sipping coffee like she was hosting a podcast. She called Marcus and put him on speaker. Then she looked at me and said, "Tell him you are out of line." I stared at her, thinking she was joking. She didn't blink. Marcus answered and said, "Yo." Sonia said, "Marcus, Jack has something to say." My mouth went dry. I said, "I'm sorry for being disrespectful." Marcus laughed. Sonia watched. Marcus said, "It's cool, bro. Just don't do that again." Like I was a kid who touched a stove. Sonia nodded, satisfied, like she'd corrected my behavior. I wanted to throw my phone through the window, but I didn't. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I told myself this was part of making amends, even though I knew it wasn't. It was domination. That night, Sonia slept peacefully. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, feeling smaller than I'd ever felt, like my dignity had been placed in the trash and I was expected to thank her for it. The next day, I tried to do something nice anyway. That's my flaw. I overcompensate. I believe if I just love harder, the world will soften. I went to Jewel-Osco to grab groceries, diapers for my niece I sometimes watched, and flowers for Sonia. Cheap ones. Nothing fancy. Just an apology bouquet for a crime I didn't commit. In line, the cashier scanned everything, and I tried to tap my card. Declined. I laughed awkwardly and said, "My bank acting up." She tried again. Declined. People behind me started sighing. I left everything there and walked out burning. Sitting in my car, I logged into our shared account to see if something was wrong. I expected a glitch or an autopay mishap. What I found was a slow-motion robbery. Transfers, big, confident ones. Hotel charges in downtown Chicago. Restaurants in the West Loop. A furniture store in Oak Brook. Flight's out of Midway. Then a cashier's check with Marcus in the memo line. I kept scrolling like my eyes were lying. Our emergency savings. Gone. The account looked like somebody took a straw to it and drank my future. My hand shook so hard I almost dropped my phone. When Sonia came home, I showed her the account. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I asked, "What is this?" Sonia glanced at the screen like it was a weather app and said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "This is our money." She sighed, annoyed, and said, "You owe me stability after what you did, Jack." I'm not explaining myself. My stomach clenched. I said, "You gave him money." Sonia stared right through me and said, "And?" Like my confusion bored her. No apology. No embarrassment. Just entitlement. I said, "Are you having an affair?" Sonia didn't deny it. She didn't confirm it either. She just said, "If you make this ugly, I'll tell everybody you're abusive. They'll believe me." The words landed heavy. Not because I believed her lie, because I knew how easy lies travel when they wear a calm face. Sonia wasn't emotional. She was strategic. She stepped closer and said, "You already have a past. People love a pattern." Then she walked away and turned on the TV. I felt trapped inside my own living room, like my life had been hijacked and the hostage negotiator was my guilt. That night I didn't sleep in the bed. I didn't feel safe. I drove to a quiet parking lot in Aurora and sat in my car, staring at the dashboard like it might explain what to do. I cried without making noise, ugly tears that make your face hurt. I kept thinking about how I'd spent years trying to repair what I broke, and now I was being punished by someone using my repentance as a leash. My phone buzzed with a text from Sonia. "Don't be dramatic. Come home." Like I was the problem for having a spine. That's when I realized she enjoyed this. The next morning, I did the least dramatic thing possible. I collected receipts. Screenshots of every transfer, every suspicious charge, every memo with Marcus's name. I went to the bank in person in Naperville and asked for a full account history printout. I pulled my credit report and felt my throat close. 2 cards I didn't recognize, opened recently. I wasn't a perfect man, but I wasn't stupid. This wasn't marriage problems. This was theft. I also knew if I reacted emotionally, Sonia would paint me as unstable. So I stayed calm and got organized. Quiet is powerful when you're documenting a storm. I called my cousin Danelle in Brunsville, the one who always told me the truth even when it stung. I said, "I think my wife is stealing from me." There was a pause. Then Danelle said, "You finally ready to stop paying for your old sin with your whole life?" I tried to laugh, but it came out cracked. He said, "Jack, listen. Accountability is not slavery. You messed up before, yes, but you owned it. Don't let her turn your remorse into permission." He gave me the number of a lawyer he trusted in DuPage County and told me to stop talking and start moving. Sonia noticed the shift. She started poking at me, trying to get a reaction. She'd say slick things like, "You're acting like a victim now." She started staying out later, coming home with that fresh perfume smell and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Sometimes she'd be sweet for 10 minutes, sit close, touch my arm, say, "I love you, you know that, right?" Then go cold again when I didn't melt. That mix messed with my head. I kept remembering the romantic Sonia from our early years, like maybe I could pull her back if I tried harder. Another flaw. I chased the version of people that only visits. There were still funny moments that hurt afterward, like the time she came home with a little office award plaque. Nothing major. And I joked, "Look at you, CEO of Oakbrook." She laughed and said, "Watch your mouth. I might start acting like it." I laughed too, then later found a charge from a steakhouse in the West Loop on the same night. Or the time we went to a Target in Bolingbrook and she insisted on buying matching pajama sets, and we took dumb selfies in the aisle like teenagers. I wanted to believe the pictures meant something, but a smiling face can still be lying. The lawyer didn't give me a motivational speech. She gave me a plan. Separate finances. Document everything. Communicate in writing when possible. Protect my identity. She said, "Your feelings matter, but the paper trail matters more." I filed for separation with financial protections. The bank began a fraud review because of the credit cards and the forged signature on a document tied to my identity. That pot was bigger than he said, she said. That was evidence. Sonia didn't cry when she got served. She laughed. She said, "You think anybody's going to feel sorry for you?" Then she added, "Good luck proving anything." No remorse. Just confidence. Marcus popped up too, because his name was all over the transfers. When the bank's investigators asked questions, it wasn't about romance. It was about money moving in patterns that didn't make sense for a normal household. Sonia tried to say it was gifts and personal business. Marcus tried to play dumb. But numbers don't get emotional. They just add up. Sonia got meaner. She texted me, "You're going to regret this." She told mutual friends I was controlling. She hinted I was unstable. Some people pulled back from me without even asking what happened. That abandonment hurt more than I expected. Silence from friends is its own betrayal. Karma didn't arrive like a movie scene. It arrived like an email and a phone call. The bank froze the joint account and reversed what it could. The credit card companies flagged the accounts as identity fraud. Sonia's job got involved, not because anyone cared who she loved, but because the financial mess was brushing up against work time, devices, and expense reports. HR doesn't need drama. They need distance from risk. Sonia lost her job. Marcus got cut too. Neither of them apologized. Sonia blamed me for the consequences like I was the one who moved the money. She said, "You always ruin things." I didn't argue. I just kept moving forward. My comeback wasn't loud. It was private and steady. I moved into a small apartment in Evanston. Nothing fancy, but quiet, clean, mine. I made the same 3 meals for weeks because my brain couldn't handle choices. I went to therapy and said the truth. I cheated once. I did wrong. I fixed what I could. I'm not doing life in permanent punishment. I rebuilt my savings in an account with only my name. I locked down my credit. I worked my job with focus again. I slept full nights. I started laughing for real, at dumb videos, at my cousin's jokes, at the sound of my own peace. Success looked like stability, not applause. The moral lesson is simple, but it cost me a lot to learn. Owning your wrongs doesn't mean you owe someone unlimited access to your dignity. Accountability should lead to growth, not lifelong control. Love without respect is just a nicer word for captivity. I'm not a perfect man, and I don't pretend to be. But I did the work to be better, and I deserved a partner, not a warden. Sonia never showed remorse. Marcus never showed remorse. They didn't have to for karma to work. Consequences don't require confession. My life is quiet now. Quiet is what healing sounds like when nobody's performing it. If you love stories that make you gasp, laugh, and whisper "no way" in the same minute, hit subscribe, because the next one is even worse.